Okay, so subtracting integers is what we're going to do today. All right, so if you look at these two are exactly the same because 6 minus or 8 minus 2 is 6. And from yesterday, what do we have more of, good or bad? Good, right? By how many? 6, right? So you can change every subtraction problem into addition problem by basically putting an addition sign in here and then moving that sign over and grouping it. Okay? So let me show you what I mean by that. So, to subtract an integer, you add its opposite. Basically, if that's weird to say it that way, but don't write it down. It's better to just do what I'm telling you. Okay? Good guys versus bad guys. Again, you can do those, but they really only work with addition problems. So basically what we're going to do is change these into addition. Okay? So let's look at number 1. Okay, so number 1, I have a -1 minus a -2. So what I really have is, that's not a good number to start out with, but okay. So here's what I do. Do you see how we have a minus a negative? And you see how it's saying, if I said this, what would be the answer? What's the opposite of a -2?
+2.
Okay, you see how I said that? Wouldn't that just be 2, right? So when you have two negatives that are basically being multiplied by each other technically here, where it's basically saying take the opposite of this whatever's in the parentheses, this changes to addition. Okay, when they are together, you're taking an opposite of a negative, that means to add. So then the problem becomes -1 plus 2. And I showed you why right here.
Yes.
Okay? Blake.
Why do they both change into a addition?
Because the opposite of a negative is a positive. So two negatives, a negative times a negative is a positive.
I don't know.
Correct. Two minuses make a plus. And the reason is the opposite of the, so if I tell you that we are not going outside, you would go outside, right? That cancels it out. It's like canceling it out. No, just the radius. Okay, so questions there? Yeah.
Wouldn't it be -1 plus +2?
Correct. Still the same thing. -1 plus a +2 is still -1 plus 2. And therefore the answer is therefore 1. Okay, that's just one example. Okay. Now here, I say it how I see it. I have a -3 and a -4. Does that still hold true? Remember I told you look at the sign in front? So the sign in front of the 4 is a negative. Don't think subtraction, it's a negative. The sign in front of the 3 is a negative. So what I can do is I can just put a plus sign in between there. So I have 3 negatives and 4 negatives. Or you can think about it this way. I have 3 bad guys, I have 4 bad guys. They're all bad, so what do? Add them. So in this case, -7. So what I do is I change the subtraction problem into an addition problem. Yes, sir. That's technically what it is. But unless you know you're at -3 and then you go back 4, you would be at -7, right? Okay? Yes.
Why don't you change the 1 to a positive?
Because I don't have double negatives. So when I double negatives, they cancel each other out. That's why it becomes positive, both positive. But here I only have 1 negative, right? So since I don't have double, I can't cross it out. Okay? So let's look at this one now. Okay, this is the one that you guys miss all the time. Because you tell me that this and this are equal. Now you know, okay, no it's not. It's not equal. It is not. This is 8 and this is something else. This is basically the opposite of that. So basically, what do I have? I have a positive 5 and a negative 13. I have a 5 and a negative 13. If you rewrite it like that, that should help you. Okay, so who won? Good or bad?
Good.
Bad by how many?
8.
So subtraction is not the same when you flip it around. Multiplication is, addition is, but not subtraction and division. This is, it's, what did she have? She did a rewrite, inverse, opposite, I don't know. I just say, well, what do you see? What are you looking at? Okay, let's look at some more, just because again, it's better here. So, let's see, what do I have? I have a 6 and a negative 14, right? I have a 6 and I can shove a little plus sign in there, a negative 14. And I like to put it like this because then I show myself, it kind of helps my eyes focus. Why did I put it with that? Because it's a sign in front, it goes with that number. Okay, who won? Bad by how many? 8. Okay, so I have a negative 8, right? That stays the same. Because I'm taking a negative 2, which means the opposite of a negative 2, which is a positive 2. So this is the different case where this becomes plus. So who won? Bad again. What is left of these bad people? And by how many? 6. Okay, last two, just again, the more you see it, the easier it'll be. I got negative 9, I don't change that, right? Nothing involved there. And what do I have? A negative 5, right? I got a negative 9 and a negative 5, so therefore I have all bad, so I add them, correct. Okay, so what's the sign for the 5? Okay, positive 5. And what do I have over here with just a 10? Correct, because again I have double negative, right? So this one is basically 15. One of these ones. Hey, this guy's one. Okay? So this is basically what you do is you are adding the opposite, which I don't like to say that. So basically I say, what do I see? I have a positive 6 and, meaning the plus sign, and a negative 14. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
Okay, so if we had a situation where it was a negative 14 and positive 14, would you agree?
So if you had, that's what you did yesterday. So if you had a negative 14, do you want to do double negatives here? Yeah, this is what you did yesterday. This is an addition problem.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, I thought like it's still like both numbers were 14.
Oh, if both numbers are 14, so if I had a negative 14, it would be, and a 14, that would be 0.
Oh, because like, I was wondering if you're playing the games.
Neither. They're equal. So here's the one that I want to be clear about this. What if I had this? Negative 1 minus a negative 1. Okay, I have kids write negative 2 sometimes. Because this would be a negative 1, and then double negatives means to make it plus 1. In this case, it would be 0. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So keep in mind, subtraction and negative are, we can use them interchangeably. Okay, so, your turn. I want you to go up to the board and do these, please. We're just, because of time's sake, we're gonna do just the first 4, please. If you notice that these are a mixture, actually do these ones. Nope. Now again, if I was doing homework, I would rewrite it as an addition problem. And the only reason I say that is because then you're not getting confused about which sign's which and where am I looking at. So all you have to do is 1, 2, 3, and 5, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and start your timer, you don't need 8 minutes. So you can get done in 4. Once you're done, go back to your seat, we're gonna look at, obviously, a couple other different examples here. How do we do a fight? The outside. Okay, so then you found.
They're the same.
Fire square grid? Okay, I think this number's off, so you have the right idea. Okay? Yeah, so this, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. This is the part that gets you to understand. Okay, so take this and then find the area that's here. Okay, it should be one of these numbers. If you're rounding here, so then take a look. Okay? All right. Good. I like that some of you rewrote it, and that's great. Again, I still do that to this day. All right, I'm gonna go over the first two since they're finishing up. So this one, I would have rewrote as this, and I got this. This one, I have a -7 and a -2, so I have a -9. Yeah. Then, here I have a 6 and a -11, so I have a -5. And then this one, -10 plus 10 is that situation that you asked me about, which would then be 0. Right? Yes. Okay, now, let's apply it to this. Yes. Yes. The transition, I just spoke before you. Yes. Okay, so here is where I'll see boo-boo. Okay, now hopefully I don't have any multiplying negatives in here. Okay, ready? So do like we did before. However, this is what I suggest doing. I have 3 times a minus, and then I always put my other number in a parenthesis. And there's a reason why. I might have double negatives. Okay, so then I will, whatever I have, I'll put B right there. Okay, because this is not the negative that's with the B, this is its subtraction. And then I'm subtracting B. So 3 times 2, right? Minus whatever B is. Well, what's B? A -3. That means it's a -3. Don't make that mistake. That's the number 1 mistake. So this would be 6, right? And then I have minus a -3 because this problem is subtraction, right? The problem is subtraction here, but this is its own -3. So I just want to be clear about why I have double negatives. Okay, so what's the answer then? Well, what do we do with these? We would add them, right? And I get 9. Okay, so this is how I do it. I'm gonna do an A and a B minus a C. Yeah. So if I put that there, like with the parentheses, again, I won't make that mistake. So what's A? 2. B is? -3. And C is? Do you see how that doesn't get, I don't get confused about which number is which? You see what I'm saying? If you do it with the parentheses, it might be a good idea. Again, this is just a grouping symbol in this case. It's not doing multiplication. So let's do these two. This is an addition problem. So what's 2 plus a -3? -1 minus a -18. Yes. Okay, they'll call you. Oh, you already went to the office. You need to call the office because her just coming to the school is not okay. Yes.
I'm done.
Okay, so then what do I get here? What does this become?
Positive.
Uh-huh. So -1 plus 18, who's 1? Good, by how many? 7.
Yay.
So again, my strategy is do those parentheses with your signs that it's made. You can't go up there until they call you. All right, questions there? Now, I want you to try, see if you're listening to me. Go up there. See if you're listening to me. Should only need maybe 4.
Just, you can give me 30 seconds, I'll.
Again, I want for accuracy, I could care less about speed. Accurate answers. So again, follow the order of operations still. And then like I said, I still do the grouping. So if like I was gonna do this, I would go boom, boom, minus boom, boom. Then I would do boom, boom, minus boom, boom, plus boom, boom. Boom. Now, there might be a multi-step in one of them, it doesn't matter, I still paid attention. Okay? Yeah, you're not supposed to be on your phone at all, anyway. No, but like, if I send you to the restroom, you are not to be on your phone. Cause like, you could get in trouble for that. Okay, like if you're still sick, you need to tell me, and then you go to the office. Okay, not, cause if your mom never called or didn't call and showed up, they'd be like, why are you here? And then I could get in trouble. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just telling you.
Minus X is 7.
Your grouping symbols, if I believe you. I have a -10 and a.
Wait.
I'm interested to see. So once you plug it in, and you need to rewrite it as an addition problem. This down and this one.
Minus 3.
Could be
What is this one?
and a.
This is not negative, this is subtraction. Oh, wait, what? Oh.
Good.
I see.
Take this new, I don't think you would.
Okay. So, let's rewrite it out. Okay. What about -10 minus 7? So now we're going to do, I have a -10 and a. So if you want to put them in initially and then rewrite it with addition, then that's what you need to do. Okay, if you're getting confused, look up here, just look up here. You should have had what, -10 and 7, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, if you're confused as to why, this is not double negative, which I think some of you thought of this as double negative. That's not a negative, that's a positive.
What about?
So I have, let's pretend I don't have the parentheses now that I paid attention to the negatives, right? So now I have a -10 minus 7. So what do I have? I have 10 negatives and 7 negatives. 10 negatives and 7 negatives. Do you see why that works? The same here. I have 3 times 7, -3, -10. I'd have 21. This would change to a plus 3, and then I have plus a negative 10. This one is throwing you off because you're like, why the heck did you make this negative? Because it's just saying, like, take the opposite of 7, which is a negative 7.
Oh, I had way more.
Okay? You could have had more steps than I did. I was just showing you the thought process here.
Wait, for this one, that, you got negative, right?
King. That's a negative 17.
Oh. I got negative 3.
Whoa. Say you're at negative 10, right? Think about it. Say you have negative $10. You owe me $10, okay? Now, I'm gonna subtract 7 from what you owe me. Now you owe me $17.
Oh.
You're saying like you're now way in the negative. I already was below 0, now I gotta go further below. Okay? So the answer here is negative 17, and the answer here was 24 minus 10, or 24 plus a negative 10, which is 14. So they weren't doing double negative? Yeah, this was a negative, that's why. And then
Wait,
some
so what was the
reason
double
we made it
negative? In the second one?
See this one right here?
Oh,
Yeah, but this is a negative, you already said so. The 3 was, no. That was because this is a negative 3 and this is negative. This was just a positive 7. You're still doing the right idea. Okay, so let me be clear. Ready? I'm gonna add this. So if I had a negative, I don't know, 2 minus, and in parentheses I had 3, hypothetically speaking, okay? What do I really have? Let's ignore the parentheses because they're just there as grouping. Make sure you're paying attention because this is like an issue that a lot of you had. I have negative 2 minus 3 because this is just a grouping symbol. Okay? So now what do I have? I have 2 negatives and I have 3 negatives. Here's why it works. A negative times a positive is a negative. So if I look at it like this, like think about it right here. I have a negative, positive 3. That means take the opposite of 3, which is negative 3. That's what that means. Because when you multiply a negative times a positive, you get a negative. A negative times a negative, what do we change those to when they're touching? The opposite of an opposite is a positive. Okay, so that is something that I wanted you to just be aware of. This is a little new to you. This is probably the hardest part with this one. And you're going, what? Yeah, because you're not used to seeing it a different way, okay? Last but not least is these problems. And then again, this is where you gotta pay attention. So look right here. The company stock lost 36 points on Monday, but gained 24 points on the next day. What is the difference in the points? Okay, what does difference mean to do? Subtract. So we have Monday, right? So this would be Monday. And then this would have been the next day, so Tuesday, right? Okay, so they lost 36 points. What does that integer look like? Minus 36, but they gained 24? Plus a 24, or just 24, right? But I'm finding the difference. You see again how I'm saying Monday, Tuesday, so now subtraction's in the middle. Will this become a positive?
Yeah.
Do I have a negative times a negative here? No, so it's just negative, right? So now I would have a negative 36 minus 24, which is a negative 36 plus a negative 24. So what is the difference in their scores? You would add those up, which would be, no, because they're both negative, negative 60. So what's the difference in their points? 60 points. It's absolute value. That's all it is. It's absolute value.
Every time there's like conditions or positive, we have to make it a
As long as you don't have double negatives. This is not a negative. The subtraction is the subtraction. This sign was positive. So really all this says is take this minus that.
Okay.
But if I have a minus as a plus. That's the only time you're gonna change it. Okay, let me show you on this one, because I think this is the one I'm talking about. Okay. High temperature, this is the one we just did as a warm up, right? The high temperature was 18 degrees and the low temperature was -4 degrees. What was the range in temperature for that day? Range means to do what? Subtract. What was the original degrees? 18, and what was the low temperature? -4. Now would I change that to addition? And you would say,
wait,
uh-huh.
oh, yeah.
Why? Because I have double negative. So how much did that temperature change? 22 degrees. Because again, you're all below 0 and now you're above 0. You gotta go, remember when we were on one side and the other side and we added them? Again, that's the same concept here. Okay, now. Again, be careful with that. Again, there's another one like this, but here's one I wanted to add to the lesson before I give you this. Remember how we did problems like this? And I said, just simplify it. I'm not telling you what X is. Can you tell me what the coefficient is in, for X? Let's see, if you remember that word, coefficient, MJ? 1. Coefficient is a number in front. What are my like terms? What am I allowed to add together? What am I allowed to add together, Karma? Why? Why am I allowed to add only the 3x and the 1x? They're both x's, right? They're alike. So what's the sign for this 3? Would be a positive 3, right? Remember I did this? There's a reason I was circling the numbers and the sign in front. And this would be a 1x. So that, they're all positive, right? They're all good. So it'd be 4x. And then what do we do with this dude? We just tag them along. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was what? What was that called? What was this thing? A number that doesn't have a variable, we're called a constant, correct? Okay, so if I had a problem like this, now I'm going to spend more time on this, obviously not today, but what the difference is between 6th grade and 7th grade is now this. Okay? So what do we still look at? We still look at the sign in front, right? So what's the sign for the -3? -3. I have a 6, a +6, and I have a +9. Again, what am I only allowed to add is my like term. So who won, good or bad?
Good.
Good, by how many?
6.
So it'd be +6x or just 6x. Anybody go with 6? No, you just tag it along. That's the difference. Okay, so we're gonna spend a little bit of time on that. Again, if I had a -3x minus x minus 6 plus 2. Actually, no. And I had a 2 here. Hello?
Yes.
Bye. I'm gonna go. Here's your homework. Yeah, I had a little tickle. You get that there. Okay, what would it be? So, what's the sign for the 2? The sign for the 2 is positive. What's the sign for the 3? Negative. This would be a negative what? 1x and a -6. Remember I told you you have to write -6 as a constant? No. This is wrong. So what am I allowed to put together?
3x and 1x.
But -3 and -1x. Same side or different side?
Same.
Same, so we would add them, right? So what would this answer be right here? -4x. Am I allowed to add the +2 and the -6?
No.
Yes, why? They're both constant. So who won the battle, the good or the bad? The bad by how many? There's your answer.
Wait. You guys can just add this.
So really, you could write it as this, -4x plus a -4. But again, this is the sign for this dude. Remember, look at the sign in front. You can write every subtraction problem as an addition problem. Okay? This is what we're gonna spend some time on. I had to do it on my video because some of them are already in this section. Okay? Yes. No, I don't want to read homework. Yes, you do. All right, so go ahead and come up here and grab the homework like you normally do.
That's what counts.
Okay?